Hey guys, it's Becca Gamer or Rebecca. Welcome back to my channel, my lovelies. I hope you're having an amazing day today. And if you're new to my channel, hi, thank you for stopping by. Let's get into this video. Today I'm going to be talking about 8 authors that I have never read from, but they are on my TBR. This is including like my overall TBR, like the one I have on Goodreads, and also physical. I have quite a few physical, so let's get into this. The first author I'm going to talk about is Kylie Lee Baker. I'm pretty sure she is a popular author. She has 2 books that I want to read by her. The first one is Bat Eater. The full title is Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zheng. Now, the cover is already everything, and then the title is so cool, but the synopsis is so interesting to me. So basically, it's about a woman who is a crime scene cleanup lady. So she's used to like the gory and the grossness. But her sister was actually pushed in front of a train, and the murderer whispered Bat Eater to her before they fled, and that is just so intriguing. After I read that, I didn't read any more of the synopsis. I am completely convinced. I want to read that book so bad. The other book I want to read is actually the first book in a series. It's called The Keeper of the Night. This deals with shinigamis, which reminds me of Death Note, of course, and I love Death Note. So basically, it's about a main character, Ren, and she, for whatever reason, is unable to control her shinigami powers and is kicked out of London and moves to Japan in hopes of being accepted. But then she ends up somehow, this is all in the synopsis, in the underworld of Japan, and she's dealing with a goddess, and she has to like prove herself to this goddess. But the whole shinigami aspect sounds so interesting to me, and I would really like to read about it. I do have the manga, I just haven't read it yet, and that's my fault. But I think I would be super interested in it. Kylie's concepts are pretty interesting and unique to me. So the next author is Heather Fawcett. She is a very popular author. A lot of people loved Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which from my understanding is basically about a woman who does research on fairies, and she meets another researcher who doesn't believe in fairies, I think, or maybe he does. I'm not crazy about the synopsis, but I'm interested in reading about fairies and like technically learning about them through this book, and everyone says it's so good, so I'm really interested in it. But her other book that has recently come out, which is Agnes's Mystical Cat Shelter, Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter, that's all I need. The cover is so pretty. I want to read about a mystical cat shelter. I heard that it is slow paced, so I'm kind of nervous. But I love books about cats, unless they're sad. But I don't know, a lot of people really enjoy her writing, so I feel like that's definitely something that I could at least try and get down with, especially the cat one. But I don't know which one I should start with. Should I start with the fairy one that everyone loves, or should I start with the one that interests me the most? I'm not sure. The next author is Kelsey Kingsley, and I actually didn't realize that I had 2 of their books on my TBR. I was just so happened scrolling through it by author, and I'm like, oh, I have 2 books from this author. So it is The Spider and the Storm and Warrior Blue. Warrior Blue I actually just saw in a thrift store one day, and I read the synopsis, and I'm like, I'm gonna do a little bit more research on that later. And I did, and I thought that I might enjoy it. And then The Spider and the Storm, I can't remember how I heard of it, but I really like the cover, so I probably just saw it somewhere. And I'm like, okay, let me do my research. Let me look it up on Goodreads and see how I feel about it. So Warrior Blue is actually a romance about a male main character who is a tattoo artist, and he's pretty set in his ways, and he takes care of his disabled brother, but then he meets a woman who has a butterfly tattoo, and he slowly starts to consider, like, maybe I do deserve the love that I thought I was undeserving of before. And a lot of the reviews speak very highly of that book, so I really want to try it, and the cover is really cute. And then the other book, The Spider and the Storm, I don't know if I could describe that book that well. The synopsis does a really good job of it. So basically it's about a man who seems to have a very traumatized past, and he ends up staying at a house, little house on a cemetery, and he takes care of the cemetery because he finds solace in dealing with the dead and not actual people. And then it says, an unexpected stranger broke into my house and fell into my web of reclusive safety and somehow opened my eyes to love and the possibility that I might just have the strength to weather the storm after all. And the cover being pretty and purple, and the connection between the synopsis and the title, I don't know. I think I would enjoy it. It sounds like an enjoyable read. I do like a male POV from a main character. So it's just, and the fact that I coincidentally have 2 books by Kelsey Kingsley, I would like to try them. The next book is Natalie Haynes, and all of her books I physically have on my TBR, and I did not purposely buy 3 of her books without actually ever reading from her, because who does that? I guess people who buy series before they read the first book do that. But this isn't a series. This is just a woman who writes a lot about Greek mythology. First up, I have 1,000 Ships, which is about a Trojan woman. A lot of, or if not all of, Natalie Haynes her stories are about women in Greek mythology. And I thought this cover was really pretty, and I found it used. And at that point, I hadn't seen too many Greek retelling. I wasn't looking, but I hadn't seen too many Greek retellings about women, so I was really excited to find this. And then I also found used Pandora's Jar, which is a bunch of short story collections about women in Greek mythology, so I thought this would be really up my alley. So at that point, when I brought them home, one day I realized that both of these were by the same author. And then when I saw Stone Blind, first of all, stunning cover. I love this cover. And I realized it was by Natalie Haynes. But I knew that even if I read those 2 other books and I hated them, I knew I'm probably going to start with this book. I want to read this book so bad. I want to read about Medusa. I want to read this beautiful cover. I am so excited. This is probably like one of my most anticipated Greek retellings, but I'm so excited for it, and I'm trying to get to like the older books on my TBR first before I read like the newer ones down here. My books are organized in how long I've had them, so the longest up here and then the new ones are down here. So I'm kind of waiting, but I'm so excited. So I have 3 books by her. I really hope I enjoy her writing, and I really freaking hope I don't hate it, because I have 3 books by her. The 5th author I'm going to be talking about is actually a local author. His name is Jordon Greene. I met him when I used to work at the coffee shop and bookstore. He would go there all the time to write and hang out and everything. I almost own all of his books. Not like all of them, I guess, but like all of the ones I want to read. So he has 2 short story horror books that I want to get into, and then he has the Noahverse, which is a 4-book series plus a graphic novel. The first book is A Mark on My Soul, and I haven't read any of these. Like I said, I haven't read his books. I haven't read from any of these authors, but I am waiting on, I need to get the second book. I'm trying to find the second book, which is Watching for Comets. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And then the other books is Every Word You Never Said and This I Promise You, which is also in collaboration with Caleb Daniel. I'm really excited to read these, but I wanted to have all of them before I started the series, so I'm just trying to find the second one. Well, it's not even about trying to find, it's about actually going to the bookstore and letting myself buy books, because I'm banning myself for the most part. He just came out with a new book, How to Not Conjure a Boyfriend, and the cover is stunning. I remember him talking about writing it and like doing the witchy research. I cannot wait to get my hands on that book. When I buy that one, I'm probably going to buy his other one at the same time. I just have to get out of my book buying ban at some point. AKA read the books that I own. The next one is actually another accidental author. So number 6 is Kelley Armstrong. I was recommended A Rip Through Time by her. I don't remember too much what this is about, but I do know that it was made into a movie, so I'm going to assume that most of you know what this is about. It's obviously time warpy. It plays on time. And I found this at a book warehouse sale. I'm pretty sure it's the South Carolina book warehouse sale, if you know what I'm talking about. They have 75% off all the books there. I found this there, and I thought that was super exciting. And then I found Life is Short and Then You Die. And as you can tell, there are a bunch of authors here because it's a short story collection, and I almost hit myself with that. I saw this cover and I thought the title was really interesting, and I'm pretty sure I've heard about it beforehand. What I didn't realize is that it's edited by Kelley Armstrong, so I guess that counts. I did not realize that these were in any way connected by Kelley Armstrong, so 2 of her things technically. So the next author is Peter Swanson. The book that I own is The Kind Worth Killing. He's a very popular author. I know Books and Lala read this book and really enjoyed it. I found it used. I thought the bright yellow cover was really nice. I feel like bright yellow on covers isn't very popular. This book is about a man who is not having a good time with his wife and jokingly says that he wants to kill his wife. And the lady that he's sitting with, who I'm pretty sure is also in a relationship, I'm pretty sure she's a wife, basically she goes back and forth with him and like goes along with the banter and kind of agrees, and she's like, well, I think I could help you figure out how to kill your wife. Crazy people, but I'm down for it. The other book by him is called 8 Perfect Murders. I know this is a pretty popular book of his as well. From my understanding, it's about a book or an article that was written about the 8 perfect murders that cannot be solved in literature or maybe real life. But then a person in real life is actually going by this list and is making the murders happen. And I'm pretty sure an FBI agent knocks on the door of the author of this article book thing, and is like, hey, what the freak? Are you doing this? This was your idea, kind of thing. That's super interesting to me. I've heard very good things about it, so I would like to read it as well. The last author I have for you is Wendy Heard. I have Dead End Girls physically. I really like this cover, and this is about a girl who is trying to fake her own death, but then her cousin figures out her plan, and she's like, bitch, I want to fake my own death with you. And so they like figure that out together, and I feel like that would be a very interesting book to read from. And then I'm pretty sure when I was working at the coffee shop and bookstore, I saw the cover of We'll Never Tell. And I'm like, that seems interesting. Wendy Heard sounds familiar. And then I at some point made the connection that she wrote Dead End Girls. So basically, We'll Never Tell really interests me because of the set, like the cast of characters. It's about these teenagers in high school. They have a YouTube channel. They visit abandoned places in LA, but the team is Casey, a quiet researcher and trivia champ, Jacob, voice narrator and video editor, who is secretly dating Eddie, aspiring filmmaker, and Zoe, coder and breaking and entering extraordinaire. So basically, they go into this place where a murder-suicide happened. They trip an alarm. They try to escape, but Jacob is still inside, and he's bleeding out. And that sounds insane. So all I'm saying is I really hope I enjoy the writing of this, because this does sound interesting, but We'll Never Tell, that sounds like a very interesting synopsis. And yeah, just a quick video for you guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give it a like for me. Comment if you can. Let me know what you think about these authors or if you've read any of these books. I'm really excited to get into them at some point. Thank you so much for staying with me today. Check out my other content if you'd like. I've also talked about my favorite authors and the books I've read from them and the books I haven't read from them yet, so I will link that in the eye so you guys can go check that out. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye!